Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Juliana. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. Imagine a quarter of a century, right? Wow. Well, I have to say sorry. I know I'm say sorry too much or too many times, but I said in my last video that I would see you before the end of the year, 2024, I mean, but it couldn't happen. So, but I'm here today. That's what counts. So, as you could see from the title, this is going to be the my top 3 of the best books, or not best. I don't want to rank that way. It's more like the ones that are more close to my heart throughout the readings that I did throughout 2024. So, without any particular order, I'm going to start with Memoirs of Hadrian by Marguerite Yourcenar. I have a review of this book in my channel. Just for you to have an idea, I only read 9 books, I think, during the year. So, well, you know the story already. If you don't, not that I really explain truly, but because it doesn't matter. But I took a leave of absence during the year regarding YouTube, and well, I came back in November, and now I'm doing my top books of the year. So from 9, yeah. But so this book here is a fictionalized letter of the Roman Emperor Hadrian to his successor Marcus Aurelius. So this is all in the head of Marguerite Yourcenar. She wrote as she was in the shoes of Emperor Hadrian, and she wrote a letter to Marcus Aurelius. So in here, Hadrian will talk about his life, his learnings, the ruling that he did during the years that he was emperor, his lovers, teachings and advices for Marcus Aurelius. This book is divided. Let me just check if it's around here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 chapters that are in Latin. So the titles are in Latin. If you want to know more details about it, go watch my review video. There I talked to you about that this reading is, for me at least, it was quite complex because of the writing. For me, the writing is beautiful. Marguerite Yourcenar became one of those authors that in just one book that I read from her, I want to read everything that she wrote. I even bought a book with eyes wide open that are interviews with Mathieu Gallet that she did in her home in the US over the years, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I started reading it, but then I figured out that, or I found out that the book will talk about other books that I didn't read yet. So I didn't want to pick spoilers. So I want to keep that book for a bit later when I have more baggage of Marguerite Yourcenar. But I really advise you to pick it up. Now I want to learn more about the Roman Empire regarding, or in terms of non-fiction, in terms of history, really. But Marguerite has a life story, I mean the author, really, that is fascinating. This woman was, fantastic. The way that she lived, the ideals that she had, she was ahead of her time, in my opinion. Of course, she also had the luck to have access and have opportunities to be in places, to study, to learn stuff from good teachers and good mentors, and traveling the world and be inspired because of it. And regarding this book in particular, there's a story surrounding it, because she wrote a first draft and then it was rejected, and then began the war and she forgot about it. And then years later, when she was already in the US, it arrived in her house, stuff that she left in Europe, and there was a draft of this book, and she picked it up again. So this book has a real interesting story, so check my video to know more. But it's really, really interesting the way that this book accompanied her life. And yeah, the writing is so is intricate, is interesting, is somewhat innovating. I think this is a mark in literature, if I recollect correctly, because she put a different style. Overall, love this book. Really, really recommend it. Then, now talking about nonfiction, I have Half-Lives: The Unlikely History of Radian by Lucy Jane Santos. So this is nonfiction, as I was saying, and this, as the subtitle says, it summarizes what this book is about. This is about the history of the discovery of the element, the chemical element radium, and even a bit before that, the X-rays, how and who found out about them, how they were used, then radium, who were the scientists that studied this element, what were the applications in terms of medicine, in terms of entertainment, even in terms of commercial materials, and even clocks that use radium. So many stuff. Well, this is a overall, how can a summarize of the story of the history, of radium. So it's in some way or another, it will talk about stories that marked this era and the years that also the collateral effects were still being figured out, because at the beginning, perhaps you don't know this, but I suppose you do, it's well known, people would use it with no safety measures, so troubles came along, and so on and so forth. And it talks about here particular people, particular entrepreneurs that entered the train of radium to make money, of course. Some who were successful, some who weren't so much, some people that end up dying because of consequences of the excess exposure to radium. So many stuff will be talked about in here regarding this element, and it's so super interesting, and it's not that very long, and as you can see, it's really short and compact. So, and the writing of Lucy Jane Santos is fantastic. It's really entertaining. You won't be bored. Just let me check here. Oh. Notes. So this has 245 pages. So, and as you can see, the format of this is my hand, so it's not too big, as you can see, and it's wonderful. And it was really wonderful because together with this book, I read a biography of Marie Curie written by her youngest daughter, Ève Curie, and the title is Madame Curie. I loved this book. It was in my wish list for a very, very long time. I had a wish to pick this up or buy it, but for some reason or another, it never came to be. But at the beginning of last year, it happened. I read it right away, and it was so very nice. Well, of course, I can't say that I knew so much about Marie Curie, but of course, I have studied a bit of her, not life, but her importance in science in school, of course, but not so much about her life as a whole, Also, here, Ève Curie will, of course, talk about her father, Pierre Curie, and how their parents were a team and won the Nobel together, and then her mother won the Nobel again, and the whole story. And if you are wondering if it is biased, I didn't feel it, or reading it, I think that Ève Curie maintained a somewhat, because Ève Curie is a journalist, was a journalist, if I'm not mistaken. I think she achieved the point of being a bit far away from the story that she was telling. Of course, she recalled memories from her childhood together with her sister. And of course, you can say, well, maybe she hide some stuff or hide some things and flourished others. Perhaps. But for my taste and my overall, feelings that I brought from this book, if she did that, it wasn't really in your face. You know what I mean? Of course, as I said, I have a vlog for these two videos. I will link it as well. And man, as I said in that video, I want to know and to read other biographies, of course, so to have other perspective. And as you may be wondering, with the question, she was her daughter, so she perhaps only wrote the good stuff, or but don't think that in that way, because it's not like that at all. At least in my opinion, this book is excellent as a biography. In some way, it can be even more fulfilling, in the sense that it was written by a person that lived with Marie Curie and lived through not all of her life, of course, but part of it at least, and witnessed to the hardships that her mother had to pass through, and of course also the achievements. So yeah, I love this reading, and as you can see, only 3, but really good ones. So these here were my top readings from last year, 2024. Let me know yours. You can only name 3 as well, if you only read 3, and if the 3 were all 5 stars, or were all in your taste, or were good reads for you, why not name the 3? And yeah, I don't want to prolong this video further because it's not necessary. So a big kiss from me to you all. Happy New Year again. Happy 2025. I hope you enter this year with the right foot and everything goes well with you and you are in good health or are walking towards that. So wishing you the best, and I see you next time. Bye.